100,000 NYC, people come out from the NYC every year. That's a solid number, right? So when you look at it, it's a competitive world. And what's the value you communicate is what makes you stand out amongst that crowd. And because we are in a society that compares people a lot, so you will see conversations around who is your GOAT? Is it Messi? Is it Messi or Ronaldo? Is it, there's always a good subject around. There are sometimes your parents telling you, "Shay, you don't see Lagbaja, this person is behaving in this way, this person is doing that way in this way." And there's just so much environmental factors that is pushing you to be like somebody, and then you just lose that sense of self. And today, I'm glad that Dr. Mofolusho has joined the call. We're going to be examining that subject. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would not be taking any much of your time anymore. I would make welcome our host for today. Dr. Mofolusho is the CEO of TPHG Technologies. He's a leader to the core. He's 25 years experience, and is a youthful person at heart. Last week we had the festivals, and we can't seem to have enough. So today, taking us on today's topic of crafting your unique value. Ladies and gentlemen, my special boys and girls, please make welcome the one and only Dr. Mofoluso Fagbeja. You're welcome, sir. We're glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you, Ife. Good afternoon, everybody. And for me, it's a huge pleasure to be here. And so, even though I'm meeting you guys, it's a pleasure meeting you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay, beautiful. That's great. Let me just share my slide so that we can get into this. Ife, could you accept my request so that I can share my screen?
Yeah, done.
And please let me know when I can share my screen.
Yes, sir. I have accepted I've given the permission to share.
Okay, that's all right.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. We can see it.
Okay, that's beautiful. It's as I said, it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Mofolusho Fagbeja. I work with TPG Technologies, the CEO there. And TPG Technologies in itself is an evidence of me crafting out my unique value within the space where I operate. And of course, our goal is about providing very, very unique solutions, going from data to solutions. And how did we come about this? By critically observing our space where we operate. I'm a space scientist, and I apply that to different sectors. However, working with international organizations, I realized a major gap, especially in developing countries, that one of the things that differentiate developing countries from developed countries is the availability of data. And across developing countries, many people are not looking at that. And then I see international development organizations, they come into a place like Nigeria, they collect your data for 2 years, right? In whatever sector that they want to look into. They don't build your capacity to be able to collect the data and continue with what they've done, and be able to replicate it over and over again. They don't build your data. They don't build your capacity. They collect your data. They give you grants, come in, collect your data, or sometimes you collect loan from them. They come in, they collect the data, and they use your data to make predictions about you, about your country. They forecast about your country, about you for the next 50 years, and you don't have access to that information. So within my space, right, I observed this and I decided that we need to fill this particular gap for developing countries. And that is what we're doing in T-Pages. So I am speaking to you today on crafting your unique value, coming from a backdrop of someone who's done similar thing, or I'm doing similar thing, and I'm creating a niche for myself in the industry, in the sector where I play. So, sorry. So what are the key things that I'll be speaking about? We'll be looking at positioning. It matters a lot. And then we'll have the brief context to what we're talking about. Then we'll dive right into it, crafting your unique value. And under that, we're going to see how identifying your strengths, defining your unique offering, and communicating your unique value will stand you out in a very, very competitive world. And I can tell you, even though what I'm doing might not be something so common in developing countries, I can tell you the developed countries, and they have loads and loads of experts who can do this. That's why they can come into your country and collect your data and interpret your data, analyze your data, and use it to make future predictions about you, which you cannot do. So it might not be so competitive for me in developing countries, as in having similar people or having more people or many people doing that across developing countries. But I can tell you that I am actually competing with people who've been doing this for ages, who's been doing this for a very long time, right? And it makes it extremely competitive for me, right? Because I'm actually delving into an area that is like an exclusive preserve of expatriates, you know, the developed countries. And that even makes it a lot more competitive. And looking at that, I heard Ife talking about the number of people that NYC turns out every year, and how that makes the space so competitive. Yes, it makes it very competitive. And aside from that, look around you. The kind of problems we had 30, 40 years ago, we're not having those kind of problems nowadays. And now that we're the kind of problems let me rephrase myself. The kind of problems we're having now, we didn't have them that time. For case in point, all the problems being caused by climate change and the impact of climate change. Let's just look at that from that perspective, in terms of health problems, in terms of environmental degradation, in terms of flooding. And I can tell you that flooding in this country, every year it floods across Nigeria. It costs us between 8 billion US dollars to 10 billion US dollars. And I can tell you one of the main issues resulting into very high cost of food in Nigeria right now was as a result of the flood that happened in 2018 and the flood that happened in 2022, which washed away farmlands and eroded our food security. And that's coming as a result of climate change. We keep talking about the issues of herders and farmers, right, clashing and having all the implications. It's as a result of the shrinking of the Lake Chad and the migration of people, herders, down south, because they are looking for pasture. for their heads. And initially, before that, they only stayed around the lake charge and they feed their cattle and they do everything that they needed to do over there, right? So you can see the myriad of problems that we're experiencing as a result of just one thing, climate change. And that is just climate change, right? Politics, the political space, health sector. We just came out of COVID like 2, 3 years ago, right? And so many other sectors like that. These problems keep coming up and keep coming up. So there are problems, and for as many problems there are, we need people to find solutions to them. And people are rising up to the challenge. People are thinking, people are working, and that makes the space extremely competitive. But even though the space is extremely competitive, I can tell you that there are huge opportunities within the space. For you to thrive, what you need to do is to craft out your unique value and take your own market segment, and voila, off you go, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about briefly today. Why does positioning matter? As I said, we live in a very fast-paced world. So many things happening. And you can see the evolution of social media. You can see how people have, with ingenuity, evolved how we communicate, how we interact via social media, how people are able to express themselves, their freedom via social media. That shows that we're living in a very fast-paced world, right? And of course, these people, Elon Musk in the space sector, Zuckerberg in social media sector, and a whole lot of them that you know and I know. They are standing out in this fast-paced world, right? And that is essential. That's why we know them. So it's your unique value that separates you from the noise. There used to be Yahoo Messenger. I don't know if you are aware of Yahoo Messenger. That was the medium of communication that time, right? We were always on Yahoo Messenger to chat with people and, your friends, people that you've not seen in a long while and things like that, wherever it was that they were. But I said, does anybody hear about Yahoo Messenger anymore? Right. Zuckerberg came up with Facebook, different chat opportunities, platforms, and things like that. The uniqueness, the evolution separated them from the likes of Yahoo Messenger. Yahoo Messenger is no longer in existence now. However, these guys kept on crafting, new values, charting new courses. And here they are, still standing strong. And that's what separates them from the noise. Today, we're going to be exploring how to define and communicate your distinctiveness, because these are very, very essential. You need to be able to define you need to be able to understand your uniqueness, bring it out and clearly define it, right? You need to be able to, you have to be able to distinctively identify. Well, of course, you do that through intense and serious research to understand the problems and the challenges that your uniqueness can actually feel and solve. And then once you have that, you need to be able to effectively communicate it so that people can actually see you as someone who has a unique offering to offer them. So one key question is this: what truly makes you unique? These are things that you need to think about. One question for you to think about: what truly makes you unique? So, well, be yourself. Everybody else is already taken. And that's a very profound statement. Why is everyone else taken? Because everyone else is already themselves. Everyone else is already themselves. There's nobody else who can be you. And I think we talked about this last weekend at the first webinar that we had last weekend. So be yourself. Be yourself, understand yourself, and identify the uniqueness in yourself. There is nothing new under the universe, yeah, or under the sun in the universe. And of course, the universe goes beyond the Earth that we live in. There are billions and billions of galaxies in the universe. However, there's so many special things in the universe. And one to you, one of the special things in the universe is you and the qualities that you have, right? So how you dispose yourself to things, number one, to yourself, how you dispose yourself to your environment, how you dispose yourself, um, how you dispose yourself to um, uh, to circumstances around you and the things happening around you. These are the things that stand you out, right? So you have to really, as I said, you really have to understand yourself, right? You need to know yourself, right? And understand those things that stand you out. Okay. So going into it, I think this session will be shorter than the last session, and everything that I'm going to talk about may not be so exhaustive, but these are things that should guide you in the right direction, um, in order for you to be able to craft your unique value and to stand out in this very highly competitive world. So for you to craft your unique value, you need to identification is extremely important, and it's the starting point. So for you to be able to identify, you have to do some bit of introspection. You have to really, really stand back and look at yourself and really understand yourself, understand your skills, understand those things that you enjoy doing, and we'll get there. So you have to identify um, yourself and those things that are special and unique about you. And not just identifying those things, you need to know how to use them. So you need to be able to utilize those things that are special about you and those things that are unique to you. Identify and utilize them. Secondly, another identification. Who is your audience? You have to be able to identify your audience. You have to be able to identify the kind of people who will find your uniqueness valuable. So what you do is not something that everybody needs. It's not everybody that's on social media, for example, right? There are quite a number of payment platforms in Nigeria, from fintech, evolution, and things like that. So many people are not using them, right? But they have their target audience. They have the kind of people who find that service, the solutions, who find them necessary and valuable and important, either for them in their businesses, either for them maybe for ease of transaction or for whatever reason, right? And that is one thing that you also have to identify. Who is my audience, right? Who are the people that will find this, my uniqueness, valuable? And of course, I've, I've, I've talked about problems, challenges. I've mentioned that a number of times, right? And it is in this um, 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 understanding your environment, knowing what is going on around you, and that is how you'll be able to identify your target audience. That find your uniqueness valuable. Then you need to be able to communicate your unique values. You need to be able to communicate your proposition, right, to that particular audience that you've identified. And you must do that clearly, succinctly, and effectively, right? So these are the things that crafting your unique value actually to stand you out. These are the key things that it borders on, or it borders around. So we're just going to look at these three components, one after the other. So the first one, of course, is for you to identify your strength. And how do you identify your strength? Where am I strong? What are those things that I'm able to do naturally and effortlessly? What are those things that I enjoy doing? What are those skills or experience that I've gathered over time? For you to identify yourself, you have to do a self-introspection. That is self-reflection. So doing self-reflection is very crucial for you to understand your abilities, your passion, and your abilities and your passions are also very, very essential, right, for identifying your strengths. So the key things there are to ask yourself the question, what am I naturally good at? What are the skills that I've acquired? I've gone to school, I've learned a trade, I've gone in for. So when I was doing my master's, when I was doing my doctoral study, I also went to some schools where I learned how to code and do all those things. Aside from the core, aside from the core doctoral study that I was going through, I was also learning some skills by the side because I know that these skills will really really enhance especially what I was doing my doctoral study in at the time, because I discovered that um, to extract nobody can see molecules of or particles of air pollutants or the molecules in the atmosphere. And I was using satellite sensors to sense these molecules in the atmosphere, right? And for me to really extract the right information, you have to run some of this through heavy computing systems, right, with heavy codes. So I needed to acquire those skills, right, coding skills to enhance my career. So you want to ask yourself, what are the skills that you've acquired over time? What are the things that you know, right? What experience do you have? It doesn't necessarily have to be professional experience. It could be experience, life experience, because there are people who are life coaches, right? So it's not just your professional experience. It could be experience that you've gathered along the line, growing up and, seeing things around you, observing your environment, interacting with people, understanding one thing or the other, those experiences can come to bear to help you, right, to identify your strengths, your hobbies, the things that you do naturally. There are footballers there. People enjoy playing football, right? And they have passion in it, and they turn it into careers, right? So your hobbies, your personal interests, etc. These are some of the things that stand you out from others. For as long as your fingerprints are different, you can have a JJ Okocha and you have a Lionel Messi, right? Both of them are skillful in football. Both of them can actually dribble through a team of 11 players. Maradona did it with England, 1986 World Cup. I don't know if you can just send me a prop if you if you know about 1986 World Cup. Sorry, just the digression. However, the way Maradona dribbled through, or the way Maradona would dribble through, is different from the way Lionel Messi would dribble through. Is different from the way JJ Okocha would dribble through. So there is something unique, even though they are doing the same thing, but they are doing it in different ways. Right? So people might be doing things that you are doing or you're looking at doing, right? But you can always do it in a different way. And each time Maradona dribbled, right, people will be like, wow. But it never stopped people from saying wow when they saw JJ Okocha dribble. People will also say wow when they saw Lionel Messi dribble. Right? That tells you that you might be doing the same thing, right? But something about the way you do it can stand you out from others. Market research. You have to go through a thorough research because you need to have an understanding of the industry, the needs in the industry, the needs in the needs of the people, the needs in the sector that you are trying to find a solution to. And of course, trends. Well, I listen to news a lot. I follow trends in my sector, right? What I do, I ensure that I listen to news. I know what people are doing. I know the issues that are coming up. I know the problems that are coming up. And I'm thinking about how do I fit into solving these problems? And when you do your market research that reveals the industry needs and trends, it helps you to align your strength with the available opportunities. Because the problems, the things people complain about, they are in actual fact opportunities for you. If there's many problems in the world, then there's many solutions. And you can be one of the solution providers. And that's what the world needs. People that will solve their problems. People that will make good impacts. Right. It's very, very essential. So you have to do your market research to understand current trends, the demands in your field, and the existing problems that can be solved by what you are naturally good at. So that thing that you've been able to draw out from your self-reflection, you are aligning it with market research to say, okay, I am naturally good at doing this, and then these are the problems. How do I craft how do I craft my services? How do I craft whatever it is that I'm doing to ensure that I'm able to solve this problem? And then you do your customer analysis. Your customer analysis provides valuable insight into what clients value the most, because you want to solve a critical problem and you want to reach as many people as possible, right? So you tailor your solution to ensure that the things that clients value the most, right, you are able to meet, your solution is able to meet those expectations. Your target audience needs, you need to know what they need, what their needs are, you need to know what their challenges are, you need to know what their goals are, and you can derive those from your market research. And then you articulate their needs and pain points to understand them so that you can so that you can propose the solutions that meet them. Very, very essential. It's not just head knowledge, it's actually understanding them. Because when you understand the problem, you will be able to see the loophole in that problem. And it's from that loophole in the problem that you draw out your solution. Because the loophole in the problem is the solution to the problem, actually. So you really need to understand the problem, right? I said something about the political space in Nigeria, that a whole lot of young people, they criticize the system right? And they are not taking time to really, really understand the system. It is extremely important for you to understand the system you operate in, because there is never a perfect system. Whether the system is good or the system is bad, it's never perfect. A system is never perfectly bad. A system is never perfectly good. So when you have a good system, because the system is not perfectly good, there is a loophole to manipulate the system and to use the system for bad stuff. Likewise, when a system is bad, it is not perfectly bad. There are loopholes in that system. Loopholes in that system. And if you go in there, you understand the system, you identify the loopholes, you can play on the loopholes to turn the bad system, to turn it around, because that's what you're looking for. So understanding, right, the needs, understanding the pain points makes it so easy for you to know what the solution is. It's not just having head knowledge that this problem exists. You must understand the problem. And when you're doing your self-assessment, we're talking about you doing your SWOT analysis, your strengths, your weakness, your opportunities, and the threats. What am I known for? What am I good at? About that, doing your self-assessment and self-introspection. Your weaknesses, what needs growth? Okay, I've looked at myself, I've done self-introspection, right? And I know that I'm leaning towards solving problems in this area. What are the skills that I don't have? What are the things that I need to acquire? How am I not meeting up for now? And then where do I need to improve on myself? You do that. Then the opportunities, where can I shine? Where can I make good impacts? Because really, opportunities, yeah, where can I shine? Where can I make good impacts? Where are my unique values relevant? That if I do stuff, everybody will be like, wow. And then what are the threats? What can hold me back? Natural, right? I would say that the only thing that can stop you from achieving what you want to achieve is you. Because nothing is impossible, as far as I'm concerned, in my own dictionary, right? Impossible doesn't exist. Even when I'm trying to do something and it seems as if it's not possible, as far as I'm concerned, it may only be impossible for that particular moment, not that it is forever impossible. There might be circumstances that is making it look as if it is impossible. So I look for those circumstances, I deal with those circumstances, and bring about the possibility. So whatever it is that can hold you back, you can identify it, right? And you can deal with it. You can handle it, you can solve it. After all, what you're doing, or what your ultimate goal is, to bring out your unique value so that you can solve problems. And when you are identifying problems, internal problems, right, that is the very first place where you need to start demonstrating that you are actually out and you're actually interested in solving problems. So solve the internal problems. Start building your capacity by solving the internal problems, dealing with the things that can hold you back, and ensuring that nothing holds you back. So you do your self-assessment and your SWOT analysis, and it's very, very important as part of you knowing yourself and identify yourself. And then you do your market research. You know the landscape. You understand the industry trends and what makes competitors successful. And how do you do this? You conduct surveys, you do interviews, you engage people formally and informally, right? You do online reports, you go online forum, you do webinars, you conduct, as I said, you deploy questionnaire to have an understanding of to have a good understanding of the landscape. And of course, social media listening. When you go on social media, what do you listen? What do you listen to? What are you out for? Right. On social media, you can you can mute words, right? And you can also set some keywords such that what you are particularly interested in, right, comes to the fore. And also, when you engage people, you use that opportunity on social media, you use the opportunity to also hear them out and understand where they're coming from and the needs and challenges that they have. So basically, you're identifying gaps. Basically, in doing your market research, you are identifying the gaps. What gaps? The gaps that your uniqueness can solve. The gaps that your uniqueness can fill. That's what you're looking for. So the second point is to define your unique offering. So having understood who you are, your uniqueness, and you've done your market research to know to know what is out there, the problems, the challenges that are out there. You define your unique offering. And in doing that, you have to identify, you now have to start looking at the other people, the society, the environment, and the people that you're actually going to be solving their problems. So you have to identify their pain points, the customer pain points, and this happen to be the problems and challenges your target audience are facing, and how does your unique product or service or skills solve a specific problem or meet the need of your target audience. Then you highlight your unique features. The unique features of your product, the unique features of your solutions, the unique features of your service, right? You have to showcase them. Nobody's going to showcase them for you. You have to blow your own trumpet. And what are you really showcasing? Because you've identified those unique things that stand you out and separate you from the lot, you focus on that distinctiveness. You showcase the distinctive aspect of your product. And that is what sets it apart from the competitor. Remember, we talked about Lionel Messi, Diego Maradona, JJ Okocha, fantastic dribblers, right? But they always did it in different ways, right? So what sets you apart from your competitor? Bring it to the fore. What makes your solution stand out? Is it the features of a feature of features in your solution, your experience, the approach, your methodology? Your methodology can be an improvement on somebody else's methodology. That's why people go for PhD. It's not that they are reinventing the wheel. When they are doing PhD, you are adding to knowledge, right? And adding to knowledge will be you're improving a methodology, or you're doing this for a location that's never been done before. You add into knowledge. So even the approach that your solution takes, right, can be the edge. Your idea can be the edge. The quality of your product, what you turn out, can be the edge. And the innovation that comes into it or that goes into your solution, maybe what stands the solution out and differentiates it from competitors and potential competitors and existing competitors, and something that will just ensure that you have the edge, right? When you identify this, hone them very well, build on them, right? And you communicate them to your audience in an effective manner. Then lastly, in defining your unique offering, you now articulate your value proposition. You clearly explain the benefits and value of your offering and what it delivers to customers. You give life to your unique value. Yeah, give life to it. Articulate it. Write it down. You say, make it plain on a tablet. Anyone who sees it will be able to run with it. That means it is simple enough for them to understand. They can see it clearly. They can relate it to themselves. I see the benefit and I'm like, yeah, in actual fact, this is exactly what I need. So I attend a church. The first time I listened to the pastor, I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I need. Everybody knows what they need. And by the time they see the solution, they will say, yes, this is exactly what I need. But it has to be simple. It has to be something that they understand. It's something that they have to be able to identify with, right? So you have to articulate your value proposition very well. And you give life to it, your unique value, you give life to your strength, and you turn it into a clear and concise statement, something that they can run with, right? So breaking this down, defining your unique offering, building on that, you have to build your personal brand. So when you've done all this that I indicated, right? Then you build your personal brand. Guys, you see this thing called reputation. Hmm? Hmm. It's something you can never joke with. What do they say about reputation? Your reputation precedes you. Why are we able to trust in God? Because he has a reputation that he doesn't fail. He never fails. That's why we have that confidence to always trust in him. Right. So, what in building your story, what do you tell people about yourself? What you tell people about yourself in terms of the way you handle things, the way you interact, the way you deliver. These are the things that form your reputation. And if your brand has a bad reputation, be rest assured, you ain't going anywhere. So your brand you must build your reputation, and you must also have your story. Always tell your story. Where am I coming from? How did I get here? How was I able to build? So I can tell you, for TPG Technologies, which I started in 2023, right? I started working on what TPG Technologies is going to be like, doing a lot of research, writing, developing models of how this is going to work. I started doing that since 2019. So it took me 4 years of intense research, intense studying of my environment and understanding what exactly is going on, asking questions, interacting with people, and writing before I could start what I have now. So your reputation, your story. In your story, you have your challenges, you have your triumphs, right? And how the challenges have led to triumphs. Always tell your story. That is your brand. Because in your branding is where you're able to build trust, you're able to build visibility. And that is also where you derive strength for consistency. Because consistency is extremely important. You have to be able to do this and replicate it. And not just replicating it, improving on it. And you're able to do this by virtue of the things that you learned in your own process of building. Right. So to have a solid brand, a solid brand, right? You must build your reputation, and you must craft your story and be able to tell the story. Then you have online presence, LinkedIn, you have portfolio and things like that, genuine networking, reputation management. So even yesterday I was out till around 11 p.m., right? Networking with people. So there's a company here in Lagos in IT doing great stuff, right? And they invited captains of industries and stuff like that to come around and mingle and interact. And of course, in the process, I know the connections that the new connections that I made, right? So you have to network, you have to be open to it, and then you also have to manage your reputation, right? I'll have to double up because I think time is really running against me. So you need to craft your narrative, right? As I said, tell your story so that people remember and admire you, not your story to pity you. So you have to be able to craft it in such a way that, yeah, you mention those challenges, right? But how you're able to turn those challenges into triumphs, into victories, right? Makes them memorable. Nobody wants to work with somebody who is wallowing in pity, somebody who is always looking for pity, right? But you have to be able to highlight your strength. And for you to highlight your strength, you must be able to make a mention of your challenge and then make double or triple mention of your triumph, right? You are not dwelling on the challenge, it's just a mention and then the process as well. Very, very important. So people connect to stories and that makes it memorable, right? And in your narrative, you should say where you started from, your challenges, right? You are not pontificating your challenges, right? And then the transformation, how you brought about the transformation, how you grew from those challenges, and how you are able to conquer grounds, break barriers, right? They want to hear that. They want to know that it's not just coming from, it's not been just an easy ride for him. They want to see that element that you had some challenges and then you are able to surmount those challenges because that is what tells them that you're able to solve problems. That's what tells them that you're able to solve problems, basically. So craft your narrative, bring out your story, and tell your story. Thirdly, you now have to communicate your unique value. How do you go about doing that? Clarity message. Articulate your message clearly so that people don't hear your message and they are confused, right? And ensure your audience understands you, understands what you're saying, right? Always keep it simple. Be direct in your message. No, not think. I can do this. Not I think I can do it. If you say you think you can do it, bro, sis, I'll be like, are you sure you know how to do this? I don't want somebody who thinks he or she knows how to do something. I want somebody who knows how to do it. That's what I'm after. That's my interest. Because it's the person who can solve my problem that will solve my problem, not somebody who thinks he can solve my problem. Because he might think he can solve my problem, and then he now faces the problem and he discovers that, oh, I thought I can solve it, but I can't. So you have to be direct and you have to know. Your message has to show that you have confidence and you are master of what you do. I know, not I think I know. Is that okay? So I'm not saying that you should not think in that sense, but what I'm saying is that you don't pass the message across to say, I think I can do it. No, You have to be direct in your message. You have to know. And people must see in you that you are an authority in what you're talking about. That's why it's important for you to always own your skills. All right. Good. Relevance to audience. Ensure that your value proposition aligns with your audience's needs and interests to maintain their engagement. Think through your solution, but don't just think through your solution generally. No, think it through in relation to your target audience needs and problems. Right? Then, whatever it is that you do, whatever thing that anybody wants you to do for them, don't just stop at that point that, okay, I've solved your problem simply. Go the extra mile. Go the extra mile. Solve indirect problems. Somebody might have come to you about a toothache, and you know that the solution is just removing the toothache. So you just get your stuff, your hammer and all the tools that the dentist use, and you don't you pull out the tooth. Problem solved, actually. But pulling out the tooth, even though you apply anesthesia at that time, by the time the anesthesia wears out, in the next 1 hour, 2 hours, and the guy already has his tooth in his pocket, by the time the anesthesia wears out, you can imagine the pain the guy is going to be in. The pain is an indirect problem of solving the problem. So why not think also about the indirect problems that can come up as a result of the main problem? Go the extra mile and solve those indirect problems as well. You don't necessarily have to charge more, but your clients will always come back to say, this guy has got insight. I told him I have this problem, but he was able to think beyond that problem to understand and identify associated problems, and he solved all of them. That's going the extra mile. And that is what makes you relevant to your audience. Right. So your approach to ensure that you are relevant to your audience, you must go the extra mile. So I'm doing a particular project. And the project is looking at climate change, monitoring greenhouse gas emissions and stuff like that. And we designed the project and the platform. And I told the client, so the client's government, and I told them that, guys, do you realize that greenhouse gas emissions causing climate change issues and this and that, blah blah blah. Do you realize that it's the same source, the same sources that release greenhouse gas emissions also release air pollutants? So, oh yeah, I said, and you know that those air pollutants actually impact on health. So I said, okay, you know what I'm going to do for you? I'm not going to charge you more, right? We're doing the greenhouse gas emissions, right? But in the process, we are going to also measure the air pollutants for you, so that you can use that analyze with health authorities, right? And be able to assess the health impact of what is coming out from the same activities that release the greenhouse gases. That is going to extra mile. That is solving an indirect problem. And that is making myself relevant to my clients. And then you have memorability through stories. As I said, use memorable experience or examples, stories to make your message stick, right? You have to leave lasting impression on your clients. You have to leave lasting impression on your audience. So you have to draw that message that they can easily recall. They can easily recall. They can easily identify with, and it can, whenever they see you, whenever they see your brand, they can say, oh yeah, this brand. This brand represents strength. It represents insight. It represents integrity. It represents going the extra mile, right? It represents excellence. You have to be able to craft that out, stories, and those are your stories, right? And this also boils down to how we live our lives actually in integrity, because it is how we live our lives. These are the things that are building blocks to the stories we are able to tell. Good. So just a little breakdown of communicating your uniqueness. You have to be able to communicate your unique value. You have to speak up, speak for yourself, and stand out. Get comfortable sharing your unique value proposition, and you have to be authentic about doing that, right? You can use elevator page, bio, about page, social media summary, and so many other avenues for you to effectively communicate your unique value. You have to be consistent, be real, be bold, be up to date, be a solution rallying point. When people think I have a problem, let them run to you. You should be the point that they'll come to. Anybody thinks I have a problem, who comes to my mind? Mofolusho comes to my mind. That means Mofolusho is extremely relevant in solving problems. There will always be problems in the world, and there will always be solutions. Be the one that finds a solution and delivers it. You have to leverage your networking opportunities. I told you, I was out till late yesterday asking networking. And whilst there, I met somebody in the telco sector, right? And was telling me the challenges of organization. That we are having issues with we have to power our mast, our substations, with diesel. And the moment she said we power with diesel, we have over 200 stations in Lagos. I was like, I'm coming to knock on your door. Now, that is in relation to the project I just told you about that we're doing for government on greenhouse gas emissions. I said, I'm coming to knock on your door. She was like, you coming to knock? I said, yeah, I'm coming to knock on your door. And I immediately told her about the project and the benefits of those projects. And she was like, please, I need your number. We have to have a meeting next week. We need to look at this because what we are doing, right, will open up a lot of organizations, a lot of companies to be able to attract international funds to improve their processes. And she's like, we've been having issues, we've been having challenges, having access to green funds to improve our processes. So, networking, a networking opportunity. I just randomly sat beside her and we just got talking, right? Already, I had a convert, or I want somebody on the side, I want a stakeholder on the side of the project I'm doing. Because if you don't have stakeholders on your side, your project is going to fail. I was able to project the benefits succinctly, clearly. She understood it and she lit up that this is going to solve my organization's problems. So you have to network, leverage it, grow through connection. You never know who you're going to meet. Relationships amplify your reach and insights. So Government told us that, oh, we don't have funds to implement this particular project. This same project I told you about. We don't have funds to implement this particular project. And I was like, okay, can we go out looking for investors? They said, yeah, you can do that. I tell you, I reached out to different organizations, but it was a no. Do you know who put money down for the implementation of this project? Somebody I went to high school with, relationship of over 40 years. What relationships are you building? Do you have important relationships previously that you need to revive and revamp? Your relationship amplify your reach. Your relationships amplify your reach. So you must keep relationships. One of the key things about my company is that we keep relationships. We don't just have clients, we don't just have service provider clients relationship. No, we build something much more. We build something much more. I can pick up my phone and call my client and say, hey, let's hang out. And they are like happy to do that. And when I say I pick up my client and say, let's hang out, I'm talking about general managers, I'm talking about director generals. Yeah. And we'll sit down, we just gist. We may not even talk about business. So, your relationships. You are not just delivering solutions for the sake of delivering solutions. You're actually in the process building relationships. You have to be authentic, sincere, firm when you have to, and don't compromise what you believe. You listen more than you speak. Improve on your communication skills as always. Dress well. Dress well. Don't let them look down on you. Not just in your dressing, even your office. Make your office presentable. This office I went to, this organization I went to yesterday, they just moved into their new office sometime this year. Yeah, no, sorry, October last year. They moved into their new location October last year. My friend was telling me, of course, I've known him for about 44 years now. He told me that he's been chasing NNPC for a project. All he did was to say, okay, guys, NNPC, just come one day to our office, come and see where we work and stuff like that. So the day NNPC people came to his office, they said, this is where you operate from, we're giving you a job. You see, his office this year alone has given him a job worth over R1 billion. And that his organization is it's just about 5 years old. So dress well, present your space very well. It is your selling point. It's your selling point. Be the one who admits when you fall short. Don't be too proud. And don't be like the regular Nigerians who are not responsible. You have an artisan come to your house. The artisan breaks your table. The artisan will not tell you that your table is broken. He will just manage it there. He will collect his full money for the job that he has come to do for you, whereas he has spoiled your table. And that is very common also with mechanics. For those of us who drive, we have that experience a lot with mechanics. You take a car to the mechanic, spoil something there, they will just manage it there. They never take responsibility. And anyone who never takes responsibility will never amount to anything. I met an Indian yesterday. He told me that the problem of Nigeria, as far as he is concerned, is that people don't take responsibility and there is lack of integrity. That if Nigerians can start taking responsibility and they have integrity, that there hardly would there be any country that will be able to match Nigeria. That based on his observation, taking responsibility and integrity are the main problems of Nigeria. And that rests on Nigerians. So when you fall short, admit it. Don't let your client pay for your mistake. Bear it. Yes, bear it. It is my mistake. I own it. You are not going to pay for it. I bear it. That is a mark of integrity. Your client will not be looking at you falling short. Your client will be looking at how you stood up in integrity, you admitted your error, you took ownership of it, and the client will say, this is the person I need to work with. And then you always follow up. Don't feel too big. Pick up your phone and call. Reach out. Follow up and follow through. Network. Build that network. Build that relationship. It will amplify your reach. It will give you depth of insight. Then you have to continuously improve yourself. Never stop evolving. Stay curious. Embrace feedback. Level up. Do online courses, peer reviews, reflective journals. Talk to people, the ones that you trust. Let them assess you, how you're doing, and take their feedback. Continue to improve yourself. The moment you stop learning, you start dying. The moment Yahoo Messenger stopped evolving, they started to die. And they are completely dead now. Right? So never stop evolving. And how do you continue to evolve? You know what is going on around you. You know what is going on in your field. You embrace feedback. You level up. You're not lazy. You don't feel tired. You don't stay tired. You stand up and you engage. And you continue to improve yourself. And you continue to have that edge. Then you have to showcase your skills through portfolios and case studies. You have to have a well-crafted portfolio that showcases your skills and the projects that you've done. And this will serve as vital tool for attracting clients. Those clients don't need to come in contact with you physically, but a well-crafted portfolio that showcases your skills and the projects that you've done, right, will be an attraction to them. And by the time they come to you and they now experience you physically, they should be completely blown away, right? Because you have prepared yourself very well and adequately, going through all the points that I've previously listed. Then you have case studies as evidence, right, that provide tangible evidence for your capabilities, how you've solved problems, and how you've achieved results. Remember what we said about crafting your story. You are not dwelling on the problem. You mention the problem, but you dwell more on the process that you follow through to solve the problem and to achieve results. Because what the client wants to know is your unique capacity and capability to solve problems. Everybody keeps facing problems, but what stands you out is your ability to solve problems. And you also have to communicate your value. Through effective portfolios, case studies, you communicate your value proposition clearly to potential clients to employers. And I think, yes, you may start off being employees, but I believe I'm speaking with people who will be employers of labor within a short period of time because you are out there thinking, planning, working assiduously towards solving critical problems in the society. So, in conclusion, be bold and be yourself. You are unique already. Nobody else is going to be you. Your individuality is your greatest asset. Embrace it, amplify it, and then lead with it. And I end with this quote. In a world where you can be anything, the first thing you have to be is yourself. Thank you for listening. So if you have any questions.
Wow, that is just an expression of how much I have soaked in. I think I have written about 4 pages. I was just writing, trying to get hold of everything said. This has been explosive. Thank you so very much, Dr. Mofolusho. Thank you so much for pouring out of yourself. Yeah, I said you were going to, this session was going to be shorter, but I mean, when there's a reserve, when you have a full reservoir of knowledge and experience, and one thing that you have done is you've spoken to us from your heart, and we can feel it. This is explosive. I mean, guys, am I the only ones feeling this? Come on, let me see your gestures, guys. No, we have to be a culture of appreciating people who would pour out themselves like this. I mean, it took out time to create those slides and for the time that he has given to us. Yes, thank you so very much, sir. We are grateful. I'm grateful. My team, we are all grateful. I have learned so much from today's session. So yes, let's make this quick. If there are questions, please, let me see your hands. Let me see your hands so that we'll know how to quickly address these questions. We are looking at time. I mean, if there are questions, please, let's quickly take those questions. If there are no questions, we are good because I have a full note and I have a very full note that I would sit back and just soak it in.
I have a question.
Okay, Emmanuel, please.
So, yes, my name is Mano. So, Osabo, hello, sir. So I want to give a personal story. So one time I had to go to somewhere for my something, and then although I was able to
Emmanuel,
pursue it,
Sorry, Sabo, can you speak up louder, please, so that I can hear you
you know, is it better now?
slightly?
It's from a personal experience.
okay.
I went somewhere to represent my company for verification and all that. So we got the contract, like, but they had like we approved. So, but while I was trying to put some of the stars from the company, one in particular, although I noticed it's kind of a style, like work for someone like he wants to be very well, so that when you say who's in charge of it, and he said, so the way he reduced it was the same way. So he was like, I'm going to do this for very well. That when they say, I think that's went back to me. My hand was approved. So he gave me the same head and some attitude and everything. But eventually, I would do it. But now during the course of that whole process, because of like, talk to him, tell him, ask him to go out to the restaurant, ask him to go to the bar or something, and take him out, making friends. And I'm a very friendly person. So I spoke to his other colleagues. I just um, try and just so, but eventually he did not want to he did not want to restaurant, he did not say those people. I keep wondering, was there something I could have done better in that kind of scenario? Even if the stock was approved, also and I just make sure that everything is. But I keep ask myself, would I have done better?
Sorry, Emmanuel, had to mute you. So sorry that I had to mute you, Emmanuel. So sorry I had to mute you. But I can barely hear you. So I want to confirm if Dr. Mofolusho can hear you. So you won't end up, asking all the questions and you did not hear the question. So I want to confirm. Sir, please, can you hear him, please?
Unfortunately, no. I was almost going to say that probably you could type it in the chat box, so that I can if I say it, I can respond to it. It's something that will be beneficial to everybody, if we're able to answer the question at least, and everybody hears us. But of course, Osabo is somebody I can see and speak with one-on-one. But I think it would be best if we all hear the question and then we're able to respond to it here on the platform.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Can you bring your phone closer to your mouth so that we can hear you better?
My phone is very close to my mouth.
Okay, so I think what would work is probably if you can type the question in the comment section. So I would ask a question now. I think that will give you enough time to be able to, put all the thoughts together in the chat box. So you can just type the question out, and then I'll be able to help you read it out, and then Dr. Mofolusho will help us address it. Would that work for you, Manuel?
Yeah, that was very hard. Maybe some other time.
Because even now I can barely hear you, and but then I think I'll just ask a question. You can take a minute to. Okay, Moyo, sorry, I have a question too. Moyo, please, can you go on and ask your question? Let's.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, sir. You've said a whole lot that were very impactful. But I have a question, more like a curiosity, actually. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I think my curiosity is about how fast the world is changing. I mean, the world is evolving, and we are always told to upskill and evolve with it to stay relevant. We can't stand still. So my curiosity is, does that constant growth, risk making our unique value less unique? I mean, I think the main question is, how do you keep your unique value clear when you're always learning and you're always adapting? So how do you personally hold on to it, to what makes you stand out rather, even while you're evolving? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, very, very good question, Boyo. That's a fantastic question. So let me answer it this way. The first set of supercomputers were used, I think, sometime in the 1950s, when there was this space race, right? After, I think 1940s, thereabouts, into 1950s, late 1940s into 1950s, for the space race, after the Second World War, right? And those supercomputers, which were used to enhance the launch of sorry, if I might not be able to do that because I had to move away from where I was, so that I could charge my laptop, right? Yeah, so that's why I actually had to switch off my video. Yeah, the battery was running low, and I had to get to somewhere where I can charge it, right? So apologies for that. Okay, so those supercomputers ran on codes, right? Because they had to develop languages, Fortran, and quite a whole lot. Those very old languages, right? However, hardly will you see anybody using Fortran now. Maybe they still do, but I don't know if if anybody uses Fortran now, right? There was COBOL, then C++. Before you know it, C++ evolved into C sharp, C prime, C sharp, and all that. And then SQL came in for databases, and even databases you have hierarchical, and then it evolved into relational databases, and then you have tools like geographic information systems that had to rely on the relational databases, relational architecture, and that evolution keeps coming up. Now, so what was changing, or what changed? What evolved was the kind of languages used, right? Improvement on the different types of languages. But something that didn't change was that you're using computers, and the computers require programming languages. The programming languages change over time, right? But the underlying principle or the underlying platform did not change. So your uniqueness remains what it is. What is changing in the world, what is evolving, is about ways of doing things, which is largely about improving on how we did it yesterday. We've improved on it today. Tomorrow, we're going to improve on it. Day after tomorrow, there's an improvement, right? But it is still the same thing. It's just that we're having improvements coming out, every now and then. So if you're a programmer in 1940 using Fortran 7.7, that is your unique value that you're able to offer to either the Americans or the Russians in the space race. Now, another programming language evolved from Fortran 7.7, right? What do? You still remain the programmer that you are, right? But what you just do is you improve and you learn the new skill, or you learn the improvements on Fortran 7.7 so that you remain relevant. Messaging, social messaging remains till now. Yahoo chose not to improve on its social messaging, let me say, skills or platform, did not go with the evolution. That's why they died. If they had evolved with the evolving trend, yes, tied to time and demand. It doesn't mean that social messaging has ended. Social messaging is going on. WhatsApp is doing very well, and WhatsApp is always evolving. We see that it's always evolving. So social messaging, so your unique proposition, your uniqueness and your unique proposition remains, but you have to always improve on it. You just have to improve. Don't stay behind. Improve on it. Your uniqueness is your uniqueness. But just keep on improving yourself. Keep on learning. Living is learning, or learning is living. Learning is living. The moment you stop learning, you start dying. And that's just it. I hope that answers your question, Moyo.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Learning is living. The moment you stop learning, you start dying. That is so well taken, sir. That is so well taken. And so, do we have any more questions? I think Emmanuel said a story. He said his question as a backstory, so he would prefer to ask another time, probably where his device will permit his voice to be louder to speak. So I think my own question would be on networking, right? Because every time I hear networking, I feel like, so you had shared the story how of how the person who provided the funds for you was somebody you had known over the past 40 years. And so when I got into sales, we always push to network. And I also noticed something, that one of the first sales I made in sales was from people that was my sibling, somebody I had known who had trusted me. And so in networking, sometimes it feels like an hassle because people you are trying to connect with, sometimes they also have their own selfish interests, or sometimes it's you trying to push them, or you're trying to spark up conversations they are ignoring, and stuff like that. So what would be the best route to approach networking? Should networking be approached from a neutral standpoint, like, oh, you're connected with somebody, without necessarily trying to push a product or service to them, but you're connecting with them because you see value in them, or you're trying to provide value to them, or how would you just best approach networking, particularly from the place of a younger person to somebody who is, and a younger person who is trying to, figure out life, or probably trying to communicate his product or service to somebody who is established. So from somebody from on the bottom to superior, basically, yeah. So what would be the person to go around?
So for me, um, you see, I have an approach to people, right? I don't I try as much as possible not to interact with you based on your class or your age or this. That's why I find it easy not to look down on people. Why? Because I know one thing, that I've never seen God. Okay, so I believe in God, right? And I do that strongly. And that belief in God drives a lot of things, shape a lot of my mentality and the way I perceive things. So I have never seen God before, right? And nobody ever has. Perhaps, maybe when Jesus Christ walked on the surface of this earth and the people that interacted with him saw God, right? But I have never seen God before. And Jesus even told us through the scriptures, right? Some people went to him and they said, "Oh, Master, we did this in your name, we did that in your name, we are entitled to be in your kingdom." And he said, "Hey guys, I don't know you." So, Haba. He said, "But when I was ill, you didn't come to visit me. When I was naked, you didn't you didn't clothe me. When I was hungry, you didn't give me food." And they were like, "Oh yeah, you? When were you naked? When were you that we didn't clothe you? Come on. When were you hungry and we didn't give you food?" You know what he said? He said, "In as much as you didn't do it to these fellow human beings that you see around you, then you've not done it to me." So from that, I've come to an understanding that the closest to God that we see is the guy next to you. That's the closest to God, because already that guy has been created in the image and in the likeness of God, right? So I don't see anything less in anybody. I see God in everybody. And because I see God in everybody, I value everybody. And because of that, I don't go meeting anybody with any ulterior motive. So if you approach me on a neutral ground, I deal with you on a neutral ground. If you approach me on business ground, I will deal with you on business ground. I don't discriminate. And I don't have ulterior motives. Yes, I'm doing my business. I need to do my business proposition. But in doing that, I am genuine with it. Remember, one of the things we talked about in the slide, in communicating your unique value, be genuine with it. Don't be fake. Don't go with ulterior motives. Let your intentions be plain, right? It's not everybody that you approach. It's not everybody you approach that will give you support, right? Because there's different level of relationships, and then there's also somebody may not have what you need, right? And you can't hold that against the person if he doesn't actually have what you need. If he doesn't have it, he cannot give you. You can only give what you have, right? So that's on the one hand. But on the other hand, I told you that this guy, in actual fact, talking about projects worth several hundreds of millions, really. I didn't speak for 5 minutes before this guy said, we're going to fund it. Yes, he said we're going to fund it. Definitely, he's going to make returns from it, right? Because it's business. You understand what I'm saying? So there's no way I wouldn't go to him to ask him to fund the project, and I'll say, whatever comes from the project, only myself will have the profit. You are just funding it. I'll just return your money to you. That doesn't speak of integrity of me, right? It doesn't tell anybody that I have integrity, but I have to deal with integrity. And he was able to deal with me because he's known me for 40 years. He knows that this guy is a man of integrity. And aside from being a man of integrity, he knows that this guy, when he says, I can do this, he can do it. Not just that he can do it, there's a difference between he can do it and he will do it. The difference is you are a man of your words, whether you are a man of your words or you're not. Because there is absolutely nothing that you cannot do, but there are things that you will not do. Right? I can steal. There's nothing that says I cannot steal. But the question is, will I steal? It's my choice to say, no, I will not steal, or yes, I will steal. And that borders on personal integrity. So, the scripture says that be ye wise as serpents and be as gentle as dove. Why? Because you're living in this world, even though you are not of this world, but you are living in this world. And by virtue of that, you are going to interact, have businesses to do with people who are not of the kingdom of God. And you are not dealing for the purpose of you being taken advantage of. So in business, you also have to apply that smartness. In a way, you have to be streetwise. You don't take it all. You give and you take. You don't expose yourself so that somebody just takes advantage of you and runs over your business and takes over your business. Because that's the way of the world. You have a business to protect. Your God-given business, your God-given ideas, they are there for you to protect, right? So you have to be smart and wise to protect that and to ensure the continuity of what God has blessed you with. Is that okay? So don't deal with simplicity, as in with a simple mind. You have to be smart. In being smart, you have to demonstrate integrity. You have to demonstrate that you are wise. You have to demonstrate focus, and you have to build relationships. Okay. I hope that to an extent answers your question.
Thank you so much. Certainly does. Certainly does. Thank you so very much. I don't know if
Yeah.
questions we'll be having for today. I think we are far beyond time, but I've enjoyed this. This was worth the time. So please, if there are any questions, please take them now or forever remain silent. There are questions, let's have them. And if they are none, I mean, we have had a full session. It is a complete session. So thank you so very much, Dr. Mofolusho, on behalf of myself and every person on this meeting. And thank you so much for giving us your time. Thank you so much for taking time out to prepare this, because we said there was a place of preparation before coming to talk to us. Thank you so much for believing in us as well. Because if you don't believe in us, you won't give us your time. Thank you so very much for the knowledge you are pouring in us. And we trust God that we'll take this knowledge and we'll make better choices. We'll be able to stand out and position ourselves better. Thank you so very much, and we appreciate you. We hope to see you again next week and take on that also another conversation next week. Thank you, sir. Have a fun week and have a blessed weekend.
Thank you so very much. Next week, I will let you know, because I'm out of the country, also next week. I'll be back on Friday. I hope I'll be able to get ready. If I am able to get ready, I'll let you. I'll definitely be here next week, Saturday.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much. All right, sir. So
All right.
it's been nice hosting this. Thank you so much to everybody that's been on the call, on the meeting rather. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, it's beautiful to host you guys week in, week out. Please, more importantly, we are not just, I believe that this time invested in this is not just for the sake of being in a meeting, it is for the sake of learning, right? So we are not just having to get information. Information is not scarce. It is learning that is scarce. And learning is in the place of intentionality. It means that after listening to this, you will take time out to actually, think it through, to internalize it. So it's not in getting the information. If you get information and you don't internalize it, you have not learned, right? So and the way you learn is that you would take it, you would use it, and then you go back to it and see how you can apply it better, right? So thank you so much, guys, for agreeing to be here, for being in this program. Please, I can't stop reiterating that you need to get your friends and families to be part of this program. This program is created to host us in the hundreds of thousands, right? So please get your friends, get your colleagues, get them to be a part of this. I mean, what we are charging is very, very, very affordable for the knowledge and for the quality of conversations we are having, right? With this, if you are going to a conference for this, these are things that you pay in every dollars for, right? And this is just being given to us so that because we want people to be able to commit themselves to it. So please reach out to your friends. And then yes, Felicito is crying in the comment section. She says you guys should participate on the WhatsApp group. And yet that reminds me, this week we had conversations and we said there's going to be a prize. So my winners for this week, not counting myself, are going to be Moyosore and Emmanuel. Moyosore and Emmanuel, they participated throughout. Um, so yes, Moyosore and Emmanuel, they are going to be my winners for this week. So you guys will reach out to yourself after this call. You won yourself 2,000 naira item. So that's for the week, right? Yes, now that's how Emmanuel. So we'll reach out to you after the call, to get your reward. Get your reward. So thank you so much for participating in the task. Please engage. The group is not a place for just gathering. Engage. Thank you so much, guys. Please invite your friends. I can't overemphasize that. Let's all build together. Let's all grow together. There's no joy when you look back and then the people that you were on the same level, they are still behind. So let us all grow together. Let's all build together. And we'll trust God that in the coming years, people that are attending this will be the ones mentoring the next generation. That is the big goal for us. I believe that in the next 10 years, the people that are currently members will be the one who are mentoring people, because you guys have achieved significant level of success and growth in your career or in business, right? And that is what really makes this program, beautiful to me, because I see the potential in everybody here to also become big in their industry and to pass on the knowledge that they have learned to the coming generation. It's a cycle, guys. It's a cycle. So thank you so much for attending today. I'll reach out to go to know your story and Emmanuel after this meeting so that I would know how to get your rewards over to you. Till next week when we see, please guys, this video would be posted on YouTube. Learning takes place when you actually internalize it. Some of you will need to go back and listen to this session again so that you'll be able to really internalize it. Thank you so much. Until next week, we see. I've been your host. You know me as your guy. See you next time next week. Bless, guys.